for this mid game, otherwise they're going to get outscaled, correct?
Absolutely. I feel like if you go into the late game, the engage is so difficult. They still have the tools to pull it off in the Wukong and the Rakan, but they're massively outraged. The Gnar versus the Gwen matchup, the Corki Rockets, and also Senna with essentially infinite scaling is going to take over. So CFO definitely looking to get the ball rolling in early dragon fights, and especially just with the matchup advantage that you have in the Syndra versus the Corki.
Simple dynamics, simple win cons here from Clement K. Chu to welcome us into game number 1. The PCS finally back on. 2.5 months. Almost 3, as you said, opening broadcast, Clement. It has been a while waiting for this one, but as we finally get our grand final grudge match back on the Rift with a very different PSG, with, once again, an imported jungle mid PSG, Clement. The spots have been filled, but by very different players. I mean, Bury, this is his first competitive League of Legends match in a Premier League in the A division, at the very least as well. And for Gory, he was essentially booted out of FTX because Care did the job better. So it seems like there's a lot to prove from the champions, the domestic champions of the PCS Spring.
And that's what is so cool about the PCS ecosystem, is that we take a lot of aspiring talent from the LCK, from the LPL, and we give them the best shot possible to actually reach an international stage. I think a lot of aspiring talent has used the PCS region as kind of that stepping stone onto bigger and better things. You know, it's true that we do lose a lot of talent. They just come in and pick us dry, but it's also cool to know where these talent actually start and where they actually get their first, ray of sunshine, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, there's good opportunities. We stole Sword Art. I think, Kramer technically could be seen as a steal, although started in the LCK. We have people like, who else? Junja is still in the LPL, although not playing that much. Mofo came over. There's so many players, the list could go on. So, yeah, Clement, definitely thankful for the development that happens here. As I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the game, because junglers are starting on the same side, pathing up towards top lane. And as you said, it's not really going to be about bot here, or at least shouldn't be outside of the 2v2 dynamic.
Yeah, I feel like CFO completely conceded their bot side matchup, and you can tell just by the summoners coming in from Kaiwing as well that they're very confident in winning this lane. The Tom Kench even has that teleport. He doesn't need a combat summoner whatsoever. And this is kind of what we see in the bot lane in this matchup specifically, is that, Senna does have the superior push against the Ezreal. It gets shoved in very easily, and it's actually kind of hard for Rakan to do much in terms of damage early on versus Tom Kench. So this is a double counter lane for PSG. I expect them to be winning a lot. And for CFO, it's kind of a straight scale to 6 plan. I don't expect a lot of action to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, also this is a lane that Clement has constantly been banned across the world, not just LPL. It's seen as one of the strongest picks right now. In solo queue, I think Senna's at like 54, 55%. It's something nuts. And I have been abusing her as support. And if I get AD, well, you better believe I'm picking Senna as well. I just feel so strong at the moment when we've talked about durability and the game's changed so much. Senna still has a hell of a lot of healing and a safer time to scale, but Mr. Chu, we don't have to talk about the woman with no CS in the bottom lane as things continue moving on. Instead, we can talk a little bit about the options that CFO have. Now, you were telling me about the mid game with mid jungle. How do we start playing that out here for Mission and Gemini?
So I really think that the most important thing is that they can move both the Syndra and the Wukong into the bot lane and stop the push from Unified and Kaiwing. I think that's going to be the balancing act. What you're going to see is a kind of a race between either PSG can get their bottom pieces into the Herald fight first, or can Mission on that level 6 spike actually go down to the bot lane and stop the push first. I think that's going to be the most important timing difference here coming into this. You can already see in lane, Mission basically gets to do whatever he wants. He's hit the level 5 or earlier here, and you also see Gemini, with that mid pressure, able to secure a bit more vision in the rivers as well. So that's going to be the most important timing point. If I'm PSG, what I want to do is I want to push and move everything to Herald. I don't want to stay in lane and wait for Syndra to come to me. I just want to get out and make it a pure team fight while I have an advantage in the AD carry.
because it's going to get harder and harder, right? Like, as Bury gets levels, as Hanabi gets Mega Gnar more frequently, as Kaiwing has that ult up more often as well, as Koala goes for an engage. But look who's coming down. Bury in the right place at the right time, but he will be spotted out from a ward. And luckily, Atlan and Koala don't get bullied too much there. But still, a good lane here for Unified and Kaiwing as they continue to get free souls. And State seems to be very nice for them pacing along.
Just shoving that one in. And I do want to mention in terms of kind of the patch, why you're seeing so many compositions trend towards the late game. Everyone is a little bit tankier, and it's just harder to hit damage thresholds. I think one of the biggest things that slowed the game pace down is actually your ability to gank someone. Because people are getting a 70 base HP right off the bat level 1, and then they get about 8, I think it's the stats 14 extra HP per level. So if you think about that, it essentially means that you need to fit in 2 extra auto attacks. Mission just hit 6 though.
Yeah, he's okay for now. Gory pays respect with Valkyrie out, and Bury actually here is good timing. As Mission in front of his face, might have to burn a flash, the pillars up, and over he goes, but that's summoned it down with a good timing window from Bury.
Yeah, really good thing for him to take control of the lane now. That means Syndra just can't manage to venture into the river without a lot of help from Gemini. His flash is gone, the gank is very imminent from PSG, and I think that really shifts the balance of power here. I feel like PSG now can move into Herald without really worrying about the Syndra visit.
Oh, especially when, you know, the package, well, not going to be up at 8 minutes, at 10 minutes, but still for Gory, if it lingers long enough, he can get an advantage here. But you're right, Clement, that summoner down. We can also see how Bury abuses it with 1:30 left to go before the Herald. So if you can pay attention to the lane one more time. But at the very least, a net advantage for PSG, who want to play the game slow, as we talked about. So no first blood here, Clement. No tempo build up for CFO just yet, but Gemini's close to hitting level 6 himself, so maybe that will change the upcoming fight.
Yeah, we'll see if the most important thing here for PSG, like how they kind of move with this back here. They do have the teleport, so what that means is that they could potentially still go bot lane and even out the numbers if CFO decide to do something in Herald, because they have that teleport that can send Kaiwing directly to mid lane. There's a lot of ways they can actually play this one out, but for now they're just going to keep things slow and steady and head towards that bottom lane, just go into the standard laning phase. I think a huge thing we should pay attention to is where PSG is actually going to drop these wards. They know that Syndra wants to go bot, and they have to have a plan to prevent that.
Seems to be in the bottom side river for now. Kaiwing just licking away at the man with a lot of feathers. Bury getting behind enemy lines as well, and he's level 6, so the subjugate now up and available, but the gank stops there again, kind of just warding out, making sure there is no fission in that try on the side of CFO, and the game continues to hold on. Now, Clement, Herald's coming up, 8 minutes now, there it is right in front of us, and you can see already Koala's starting to make the move up to the top side. Ping's coming down, so CFO, excuse me, gonna start prioritizing.
And this is where that teleport from Tom Kench comes in so handy. You know, you can play kind of a 3v4 for the first part of the Herald fight and just teleport in and instantly make it a 4v4. So they can pressure 2 points on the map at the same time. Mission in the meantime, I really love what he did right there. He just shrunk outside of vision, picked up the Raptors, get a little bit more of that CS, and you can tell how worried PSG were. Instant pings across the map. They're going for the Silk Road pings, as we used to call it in the LPL, just the path behind the red buff right there. And now CFO are going to venture into this Herald. This is a strong play off of their mid lane. I want to see if they remember that that teleport exists.
Well, for Kaiwing, he's level 6 as well, so it would be impactful, but PSG are going to give this one a miss. And as you were saying before, Clement, you know, Unified and Kaiwing going to get some time alone with the turret. 38 souls already at 9 minutes of the game. It ain't PP God and Photic level, as they had 56 by this time, or by 7 minutes. But getting alone time with the turret, any center is going to be appreciative, especially since it looks like 2 turret platings there, Clement, the size of a Rift Herald push.
This is an absolute plus for PSG. They equalize the gold even if the Herald does get 2 plates, and they're also going to get a dragon to boot. So I feel like CFO, they need to really think about how to make a major play with this Herald. They probably need a kill or something to equalize this. It's not just enough for the gold.
And we know that kill is got to be mid. It's a 20 CS lead on Mission. It's the game plan for CFO as Dragon goes down. Again, something else that can extend the timer for PSG in their debut game back in the split. And Clement, maybe not. Maybe it's about Mission getting to the top side as Hanabi now going to sit against his turret and hope for the best.
This is good timing. Hanabi just came out of Mega Gnar. Here we go.
But he's already used the hop, so he gets a bit of attack speed, flashed away from Scout of the Week. Unleash power is good, but there's not enough orbs out. Hanabi gets away with his life quite easily, and Mission commits the time for little to no expense.
Yeah, Hanabi still also has his TP up, so that was definitely not a play that went into CFO's way, and now PSG has a chance to answer back. They know Bury's here.
Oh, especially with Koala taking the engage, coming under turret, the ultimate easy as that first blood for Unified. He doesn't even have to lift a finger. Clement and PSG on the board first.
What an easy play here. They just equalize on the other side of the map. And unfortunately, I felt like Koala went in a little bit early. Doesn't get a chance to use his summoner, loses the majority of his HP. I felt like he definitely, you know, especially after seeing Bury, could have played that a little bit safer, tried to draw it out a little bit more. But his battle entrance just didn't do much, and he got severely punished in terms of HP.
Rough start. Let's look at the replay here again because PSG had this set up so easily.
Yeah, you can see Koala actually the one going aggressive here, takes every skill shot to the face and just dies. So kind of doubtful that the execution was on point right here. Mission getting caught, just stealing some chickens, but he's gonna get away. He's
Yeah, he's still trying to bridge that gap, trying to make it further on. He won't get the big one, runs home to Daddy, and Bury gets the smite down. So at the very least, denying some jungle camps from the new PSG member. He is down a little bit over Gemini, but Clement doing his job well, as we saw in the bottom lane. PSG with a 1k gold lead as well. The scaling condition remains to be nice and steady. And for now, CFO still need that play to open things up with the Herald. Still need Mission to keep charging ahead.
Yeah, I really wonder where they're going to put it. I don't think bot lane's going to be an available option for CFO because they're constantly getting pushed in right now. So it seems to me that their best chance is going to be that mid lane. Mission, you know, it still has that. Flash is already up right now. Gemini, however, is going to try top, and Hanabi just turned into mini.
Once again, good timing here from CFO as the Herald gets placed down. The pathing from Mission is all the way around, right between two turrets. Hanabi knocked up first, and the Scout of the Week used an auto for Mission to get the kill. Finally, he's on the board as the Rift Herald walls to get the charge, so CFO able to equalize part of the gold. Is looking for Gory now with the quickness down. Atlan's come on in. The Mystic Shot flashed away from Gory. Still on the escape path out, but behind again. Mission there unleashing power, and he scatters the Weak alongside it. Finally on the board as Atlan gets forced to flash away, but hey, CFO got what they came for.
Yeah, a very safe flash here from Atlan, but on the other hand, CFO, what a beautiful sequence of plays. They basically caught Bury on the bottom side of the map. He was out of position right there and unable to defend either of the solo lanes. He doesn't really get much for it here in the bottom side either, and I feel like this is such a good play for CFO to completely reverse the lead here. So we'll look at top lane again once more. CFO does a great job of timing the Mega Gnar in top of these ganks. Hanabi is just coming out of Mega Gnar. There's no chance for him to get the extra HP. And in the mid lane, Koala with some nifty mechanics is able to catch Gory mid-Valkyrie, cut the gap closer short, force the flash out, and sets Mission up with a beautiful just gimme alley-oop kill. You know, the kill does go to Atlan in the end, but no, that was just such a nice sequence from CFO to come in and grab back the gold lead.
And Clement, you know what I spotted? Bury was on a ward. He was clearing a ward outside of his blue buff. So CFO, that one ward, giving them so much information. And with CFO's bottom lane moving to mid, now finally on the board themselves as well, the game looks a little bit different. CFO controlling the gold lead. They may not have gotten that first dragon, but now that we have Mythics up across the board, or Essence Reaver in Atlan's case, it does feel like the control of the game is going to swing quite a lot, Clement, and around this dragon could be a very different scenario than what we were expecting before.
Yeah, we should talk a little bit about the Mythics coming in right here. Some very interesting things going in. The Syndra going for the later game build, not going for the Luden's Tempest, actually going to go for the Leandri's Anguish, which makes her gives her a lot more staying power later into the game. And on the other hand, we have Ezreal Atlan not actually going for the Triforce. This is just the fastest build possible, the cheaper 2-item spike in this sense with the Essence Reaver. So I think for now, CFO actually has an advantage in terms of the poke. Here we go in the team fight.
Okay, no steal. No steal. We're expecting Gemini to come in with a steal, but it's double dragon for PSG. They got to the river first, and even with the gold lead, even with the item advantage, timing seems to be the benefactor here for PSG.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to contest kind of these even vision situations when you have Unified coming in with the Umbral Glaive. That's one of the strongest items earlier on.
Yeah.
You can just scan vision. It's basically a double scan right there, and CFO weren't able to manage the steal. But this Herald can be very important. We just mentioned that because of the item power spikes we're going to get from the Ezreal right here, they do have, I believe, a poke advantage in this fight. So if they get this Herald, it's very possible they can instantly transition into just taking down the mid lane tower and opening up the map. So PSG have to be on guard all the time to defend the mid.
Well, I guess that's what Tom Kench is for as well, with a bit of mobility added into the kit. But hey, Clement, you know, with the second Herald going down, still it's 16 minutes and it's still not a massive CFO early game. So I need your thought process as to how this transitions, because side lanes have opened up a little bit from both sides with only the first turrets going down on either side of the rift. And I wanted your 2 cents as to how CFO can kind of try and find the tempo that they found before.
Even though they haven't transferred their leads into a massive advantage, I feel like they're on the cusp of doing so. If you look at Syndra right now, she's so much more powerful than Corki. You know, Corki's still waiting for that mana, Mira mana to come online, and essentially the Hex Drinker is a defensive item. So right now, CFO, I think once Atlan goes back and gets that Mira mana, he's already charged it up to full. This is a massive power spike, and they also have a Herald. So if CFL don't fumble this push, I think they're fine, and they're actually on schedule.
Okay. Well, it's coming through shortly. You can already see Gemini with helping out the push and Scatter the Weak. Wants to put the Herald down now, and as it drops, it's also Koala off on the wing. Trying to find himself a bit of juicy meat. With the damage like that coming through from a 2-item Ezreal, you can see why is that's an ulti from Rest down on the bottom side. Teleport to follow up, mission now in, but the minion wave gone with a great rocket from Gory, who's been ganked by 4 people, and once again exposing the mid laner here. It feels like I'm watching FPX again as Gory goes down, and CFO, Clement, that's the push, plus a little bit of income on the side.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit surprised that they did that, because they essentially lost the Herald push in the mid lane, and PSG were able to take a tower on the top side. So for me, if I'm PSG, I'm actually pretty okay with that trade. I didn't lose my mid lane. You know, I'm able to equalize a tower, and they burned a TP for my for that kill. If you look at Gory, he still held on to his flash. He knows that he was a dead man. So all in all, if I'm PSG, I'm actually pretty happy that power spike from CFO was traded out evenly.
I'm surprised. I really thought the turret went down, but at least CFO are going to get this bottom lane in the interim. So eventually, one taken down, they'll get themselves equal standings with PSG here, and the gold lead continues to be in their favor, but still only 1k. And Clement, we also got to talk about what you set up for PSG, which is, well, when their late game, when their range comes into effect and their front line becomes quite annoying, Leandri's or not, you're still going to have a team that buys a lot of time with the first 2 dragons picked up, and the game already being so long because the dragons were picked up very late into the game.
Exactly, and I believe we do have it's an Ocean Drake right here. Oh, it's going to be the Hex Tech.
Hex Tech. Oh, Clement. You really are old school. Oh, Gory. Hang on a minute. Hang on. I got to take you, Clement, because this, once again, Gory getting caught out. Now, would you like to quote what I said before? It might not be the laning phase anymore, but Gory having a bit of a rough time of it, over-pushing here. And PSG want a response play, but Gemini off onto the wing as the Arcane Shift forward comes in, but they won't get the mid lane turret. So Gory, once again, giving over free meat to the Butchers and CFO.
Yeah, that is kind of a weird sequence. I'm not really sure why Gory is there. We haven't seen any usages of the package right here. And
also true.
free gold to Gwen is not where you want that money to go. Like, that could shift the matchup considerably when she goes back to lane against the Gnar. I think these are just, you know, these are acclimation woes that you get when a new player comes into a team. PSG are going to almost take down this mid lane tower in the meantime, which gives them a lot of control over the mid lane, but definitely could have been a little bit cleaner for them.
Yeah, it could have been. But Dragon's coming up as well, so, you know, maybe the vision of mid lane turret for now seems to be taken off as everyone groups up. Now, you asked where Gory's package usage has been. Gory now without one. Still not under his belt. It's 20 minutes into the game. Clement, have we seen one at all, or am I just blind?
I don't think we've seen one. No, not.
I'm not sure. As we go into Mega Gnar, though, Scatterly going to be burning his health. Hanabi still evolves, though, but it's way too late as his health goes down. Atlan now gets in and Rest with the needlework unleashes hell on Bury. If there's a way to set up your third dragon, or at least your first dragon of the game, this seems to be the way for CFO.
Yeah, this is communication mayhem coming in from PSG. If you look at the right side of the map, there was actually just zero vision for Gnar. Very surprised that Hanabi would just sort of walk in on that. I think that's one of the most blatant mistakes that we've seen from Hanabi right there, and CFO get a freebie.
But PSG are not done yet. They want to slow down. They find a pillar on top of mission as well. It's going to be Bury. He's tagged up by Koala, but in the meanwhile, bottom lane goes, turret goes down. That's PSG trying to get the kills. And the turret was already there standing, left to a crisp. Find it, but Clement, there's always a trade from CFO. Now up 3,000 gold at the 21-minute mark. And it is looking like the tempo that they wanted to build in this game is continuing to ramp up.
Yeah, and the most important thing of that sequence is just how much gold that Rest was able to get. Not only was he participating in the kill, he got a free tower in the bottom side. I actually feel like PSG misallocated their members right there. They went for a 4v3 play in the mid lane instead of defending their own tower. And those inner towers give a lot of gold in this season.
They do.
So
600.
Yeah.
So Clement, as we get an engagement, you're going to have to tell me otherwise, but hang on, the fight is enhancing itself as we get a lockdown from Unify, but on the right wing you can see that Gory is now joined in. Yet again, no package, but again, there's no dragons, so I think this one's okay. But Clement, at the very least, PSG always searching out for picks on CFO. They'll burn some summons from Gemini and Atlan, but as we get a scout of the week, Kaiwing has to save the day once more onto Unified, who gets back out into the fight, but it's into the needlework. He's low, needs a bit of healing light, and as he shoots it out, once again, PSG try to poke them down, but CFO are comfortable. Clement, bit of back and forth, bit messy. It seems like we continue to sway to and fro.
Yeah, I like what PSG are trying to do. I think they understand that at this point, they're not going to find any advantages in the side lanes. Both of their solo laners are pretty significantly behind, so they go in and venture for a pick. I think that play was perfectly fine. You know, they get the flash from Atlan at the expense of the teleport. You know, there's no major objectives right here, so I think it's completely okay. A good win for PSG in my book, actually, sort of dragging this game out and burning away some of the ultimates here.
It is running pretty slow, as PSG would love. Turret might go down, but still for PSG losing your turret at 23 minutes. The engage comes through from Koala. Bury can't get out. He's got a flash, but used it so late. There's going to be no range here from anyone else's subjugate. Helps keep him alive. So CFO with a pick. It's in front of Baron, but remember, they're on the wrong side of the map, so technically it's not.
Yeah, so, you know, I don't think CFO is going to be able to answer with a Baron play anytime soon, but it will come into effect. There's basically no chance for Bury to actually come over the Baron pit. I fully expect them to be able to deal with the Blast Cone, so as weird as this may sound, the steal might come down to something like Kaiwing just gobbling up Bury and taking him over the wall. It might come to something really desperate in order for them to steal back the play here. CFO now with the decided advantage in River, and I think they can just kind of play keep away at this point. Mission has a very strong item advantage over Gory at this point, and PSG are going to have to fight their way into this River.
It's going to be hard. I mean, the 2-item Corky now picked up, but even though those items coming through from PSG, you can see on the other side, 2 and a bit here for the core carries in Atlan and in Mission. Gemini even close to getting his second, and, excuse me, importantly, Rest is quite large. He's got himself almost third item coming through as we might even see another fight. Bury getting mission down, but remember, he has no flashes. Koala sets up for the engage, but it's on top of Hanabi. He's tanky enough with the force of nature, and Koala gets punished for it. So CFO still trying to find those angles, but PSG standing strong, continue to make these fights slow as hell.
I have to commend PSG. They did a great job in that fight. They catch out mission. They were basically fronting. You could tell Gory was actually not going to join that fight. It was just a misposition by the mid laner coming in here. So, you know, they get to defend top lane perfectly. They don't lose anything to the 4-1, and they burn a major engage tool from Koala. So PSG once again just inching their way towards making this game drawn out. And at 25 minutes, 4K really isn't all that much. PSG, I think, honestly, in just kind of these, what do they call it? This is kind of the IG move where it's known as wiggling. You just kind of hover around the enemy team and wait for them to make mistakes and just draw the game out.
Yeah, no, that is a classic IG move. And also, when you have a comp like this, you're wasting time. Because Kaiwing, Bury, even Hanabi, so many defense mechanisms where it makes CFO failers. We actually see the Baron, but it's outside of vision. Control ward down, ignoring them. But Gory has the package, so they must know. Clement mission sitting in the middle brush, the pixel brush, trying to wait for a lure.
Yeah, this could go very bad. They don't have the quickness. There it goes, but they need it back out immediately.
Okay, package comes through onto Koala, who just gets out of there safely. In fact, the package won't do much else. The rest turns with the needlework. Gemini back on in. Koala won't get the engage on Gory, who is team fighting so well. This is what we said about the man coming in over from the LPL. As he flashes over the wall, it's Hanabi who deals with the rest, and CFO have lost the fight at 26 minutes. Mission's down, Gemini's down. There ain't no smite to contest this Baron.
Yeah, that was unnecessarily risky from CFO. I feel like they lost their cool here, but Atlan could still make something of it.
Well, he's going to have to try because it's going to rely on Koala as well. Rest coming in without an ulti, without summoners. Atlan having his flash available at least gives him a bit of space. Kaiwing looks to the engage, but Baron still goes down, and Gory's damage just hit that point. Hanabi starts hopping around, and CFO pay the respective price. It's PSG now evening up in gold. It's PSG with the Baron and Clement. It's PSG who are heading towards Dragon with a very big opportunity to secure their third.
Oh, I'm getting PTSD from the finals of Spring Split. This is very similar to what happened. CFO had an advantage in their composition, but they just didn't utilize their cooldowns. Like, PSG just called the bluff. Like, you know, Kaiwing plays a lot of Rakan. He knows that quickness isn't there just yet. So PSG, they honestly get free reign walking into River. CFO instantly realized that, oh wait, they're calling our bluff, and they're just sectioned off from each other. Look how awkward it is for Mission. He has Hanabi in front of him. Hanabi does a great job at zoning Mission from the fight. Not a lot of damage done, and they're able to section and zone CFO into multiple parts and just pick them off one by one.
Beautiful little combo from Kaiwing in Unified. Damage comes out. It's not going to be that impressive at the moment, folks, but remember the Gory, who had such a rough time getting caught out in side lanes, once again comes to a team fight, Clement, and his positioning is great. I just don't understand how this guy can be such a significant team fighter that he can't be a laner. As Gemini trying to pull the trigger again. They've found Bury, but the subjugate's healing him up, and they've bought time. Unified plays back at the range and helps Hanabi get yet another kill. Gory's rejoined the force. As with a teleport in, he makes 5 versus 4, and CFO knowing have to back away with another forced engage.
Yeah, CFO, they only have 2 divers right there, and the rest of the team isn't able to join, completely cut off by Hanabi once again. Oh, 5-man!
Yeah, that's a big scout of the week, but Koala still can't follow up. That quickness not available, Clement. He has flash, but he comes over late as the needlework finally follows through, but a 2-man route coming through from Unified might end it here. As the poke from Gory also quite significant. PSG might back out of this one, and I guess a win for CFO when they're trying to stop PSG from moving ahead with the gold Baron play.
Yeah, what a good job done by her by Mission. I was very close to being a couple of kills. Atlan actually misses a couple mistake shots on the back of that. They could have picked off Hanabi and delayed his timer even more here. But I think this is at least a good point for CFO to stopgap. Just look at how much gold they threw away with that Baron play. I've got to say I'm a little bit disappointed in CFO. I don't think that they needed to be in that much of a rush into the Baron. They could definitely have waited just for their cooldowns to come up, to have a better concave on PSG as they came down river.
I mean, this is a grand finals team. This is a team that could have very well gone to MSI. And as you said, Game 5 was very disappointing. For CFO, starting the split like this might be as Koala comes in trying to redeem himself. Gemini with the knock-up as well. Unified ulting, trying to get the shield, but mission over the wall. Helping out with Atlan as Koala with yet another knock-up, and rest angle is perfect on top of Kaiwing. He flashes over the wall as Gory's still doing a lot of work, and Clement, maybe it's too late here, as CFO still can't deal with Gory, and Hanabi cleaving the rest of the fight.
Well, this is not exactly what you want to do as CFO. They try to get a good surround from multiple angles, but their own mid laner is not very mobile, and you could tell it's so hard for Mission to get into a good position behind the front line in these situations, and PSG are just able to group faster and beat off the flanks one by one. Beautiful team fight for them. Once again, they're just running away with this game.
Using everything to try and kill Unified, and the problem is that Corky has hit that point as well. 3 items strong, now with a bounty after starting 0 and 3, but not important, Clement, as we look back at CFO's angle you talked about, which started so brilliantly.
Yeah, they get Unified right off the bat, but are unable to kill him until the teleport does come down here from Mission. So that's the majority of their burst damage already gone in this fight, and Mission is caught off in such a bad spot. He's not able to go anywhere. Koala tries to go in and save him. He pays with it with his life, and I feel like CFO, you know, they did get their initial target, but there was no exit strategy for them. They're just caught in no man's land.
Kind of like the last one from Gemini as well. It's all or nothing at this stage. You know, we're 31 minutes in, Dragon's so heavily stacked against them, and in 45 seconds is a Hextech Soul that PSG look pretty poised to take. And, you know, Clement, at this point, I think we're hitting some peaks here with 3 items on Mission. Yeah, we know Syndra will still do fine, but like Atlan as well is getting past that mid game we talked about. Unified is starting to take over. Gory is starting to take over. Hell, even Hanabi is doing so much work on the 3.5 item. It feels like the damage source is immense, and for CFO, getting caught with their pants down yet again could even just net this game 1.
If PSG just stay grouped, there is 0 chance that CFO beat them in the fight.
Yep.
I really don't see that as a possibility whatsoever. So I think what CFO need to do is they need to concede a lot of position and just hope that their poke can somehow save them. On the other hand, PSG does have a lot of poke themselves as well, but when it comes down to a dodgeball fight, mechanics do come into effect. They do matter here. There is some chance that CFO can maybe get out a win here. It's just very difficult.
But look at Gory's package. It might depend on that as Pillar goes out early, and the poke lands from PSG, but only onto Kaiwing in the side of CFO. True Shot Barrage lines through and misses. This Dragon gets to half his HP. Gemini's just trying to time this one. He needs a steal to keep CFO in this game, but as Needlework comes through, Dragon resets in a longer fight now with Gory packaging rest and blowing him up. Hanabi doing the same in the front line as look for the Gemini stun, won't even matter. The darkness to fly through the rift, and Mission slowed down once again. PSG on a tear. They've come back from MSI in great form, and Clement opening up their split with an explosion over CFO.
Oh, what a resume setter for Gory right there. Blows rest the most prominent member on CFO up with just the Valkyrie, the package, a rocket, and an auto attack. That was all that was necessary to just take down the most fed member on CFO and open up to a debut win. Well done, PSG.
Clement, you said team fighting is key in this meta in 12-11. I think CFO just got a whole can of realization.